All right, it's time to finally talk about what the hell is going on with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. As a lot of people who have been, viewers here at Fair and Balanced, and of course, viewers over at Ring of Fire for 20 plus years, I'm sure you're mostly well aware of the fact that for a significant portion of my career, Bobby Kennedy was, of course, one of the co-hosts of Ring of Fire when I worked at Ring of Fire. I will make sure that this is crystal clear. I did not work for Bobby. I worked for Mike Papantonio. That is where my paychecks came from. Bobby never paid me anything, so just to make sure that's clear. But it's time to really just kind of talk about what's happening. Because obviously last week, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced that he's suspending his presidential campaign. He's joining forces with Donald Trump. And of course, he's pulling himself off those swing state ballots so that Trump can have the edge in those states. There's just one problem with this exceptionally stupid plan from Kennedy. He can't do it. According to new reports this week, Kennedy's grand plan, which again was to just come off the ballots in the swing states, not off all the ballots. He's not saying I'm no longer running anywhere. He's just saying, get me off of Nevada, get me off of North Carolina, Michigan, Wisconsin, and then Trump can get all my support in those states and win the swing states and win the election. But again, he can't actually do that because the dumbass didn't realize he actually missed the deadline to pull his name off the ballots. Let me read you this. So far, according to analyst Adam Carlson, Kennedy cannot take himself off the ballot in Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, and Wisconsin due to various state laws and past deadlines. The most recent of these developments came Tuesday as the Wisconsin Elections Commission voted 5-1 that Kennedy could not be removed in that state. Per Semaphor's Dave Weigel, the Trump campaign is particularly concerned about Kennedy's presence on the ballot in Nevada, North Carolina, and Wisconsin, where the largest number of Kennedy voters rank Trump as their second choice. In Michigan, they appear to be split more evenly. So the whole point of this, Kennedy dropping out to help Trump to get his name off those 4 ballots, poof, gone. All because you didn't bother to read the fine print. You didn't bother to do any research. You didn't look anything up. You didn't have any people working for your campaign that may have said, wait a minute, you can't do it. Of all the blunders that I have covered in 20 years of working in progressive media, I never thought that one of the biggest blunders I'd ever have to talk about would come from a guy that I actually worked with and at one point in my career actually admired. But here we are. And here's what gets me about this whole thing. We know that this week, Kennedy came out and he's doing interviews with conservative media saying, yeah, Trump's put me on the transition team. I'm going to help figure out who's going to be hired in the Trump administration. And as we all know, the other people that are going to be there are Linda McMahon, Eric Trump, Donald Trump Jr., and J.D. Vance. And for some reason, Kennedy thinks it's a smart idea. Yeah, I'll go ahead and cast my lot with these folks. Why not, right? How do you think this ends for you, bud? You think you're going to get that cabinet position? Maybe you will. Maybe you won't. Honestly, with Donald Trump, it's probably about a 50-50 chance. But even before you get to the point where you have a 50-50 chance, he's got to win the election. And because you didn't read the fine print or understand how state laws work, you can't even help him with that. So your whole grand plan to finally, as you're in your 70s, finally get some kind of power in this country just falls to crap because you didn't have anybody doing research for you to find out what the hell was going on. Just beyond, absolutely beyond pathetically hilarious. I'm not going to lie, this is very funny. Now listen, I do want to go ahead and talk for just a moment here because I started off by talking about the fact that yes, when I was at Ring of Fire, Kennedy was one of the co-hosts and he was there until maybe 2015, maybe 2016. I don't know exactly when he kind of officially left because towards the end of that, he was, not on the show as much. But anyway, throughout the 12, 13, whatever years where Kennedy was working there, I really only met him a handful of times. Seriously, maybe 4 or 5 times. Each time, never had any kind of sustained conversation with him. In person, maybe a couple words here and there, and that's it for a minute or two. So I don't have any personal Kennedy stories to tell. I know some people have asked me on social media, they've said, hey, I know you worked with him for a long time. What do you know? And the answer, honestly, genuinely, is I don't know really much of anything. I was not the one who talked to him every week. He worked in New York. We worked down here in Florida, so we only connected via phone. I was not the guy on the phone with him. Only a handful of times I was, and it was just, hey, we got, Senator Whitehouse coming on. Here he is. You guys talk. And that'd be it. So I don't have any stories. And honestly, the few times I did meet him or talk to him, he was very nice and cordial. Personally speaking, between the interactions we had, I have nothing bad to say about him. But what he is now, based on what he was when he was on that Ring of Fire radio program, these are not the same people. His path diverged from Ring of Fire long ago. So what he is now, the vaccine stuff and all of that, that really picked up and accelerated after he was gone from Ring of Fire. So unfortunately, if you're looking to me for any kind of insight on any of that, or if you're looking for any negative stories about Bobby, I don't have them. I mean, most of the negative stories about him, the sex diary thing, the bear in Central Park, the whale head, those are all out there. You don't need insiders to dish information because he has led a very public life, and it's been a public life filled with trials and tribulations and tragedies and horrible things and stupid things too. But I do wonder, and this is what kind of gets me about all of this, what is the end game? Does Bobby really think, or I shouldn't even start with that. I should say, has Bobby not paid attention to what has happened to everybody else that has thrown their lot in with Donald Trump? Is Rudy Giuliani out there living his best life right now? Is Jenna Ellis out there partying it up? Michael Cohen went to prison, and it took that, well, I think a little before that, obviously, but he kind of had the change of heart and came around and was like, wow, yeah, this guy is toxic. Trump ruins everything and everyone that he touches. Look at his past cabinet members. Where did those people go? What are they doing today? Are they all lining up to fall in line with him to support him again? No, they're not. So I don't know what Bobby is thinking, why he would even have a thought that, oh, maybe this is a good idea. Look at everybody who did it before you, bud. Most of them are miserable. Most of them have now completely rejected Donald Trump. They know stuff you don't, so maybe pay attention to the people who have walked the path that you're trying to walk right now and realize that this path does not end well for you. In fact, as we've seen again just from this week, it's already started off with a hell of a lot of humiliation, and I can promise you there's only more of that to come in your future if you stay on this path. Hi everyone, this here is little Athena, and Athena would like to know why you haven't subscribed to Fair and Balanced yet, so please don't let Athena down. Subscribe today.